The Fifth Human Revolution, a consciousness update to a new reality based on the heart. This book is going to be a recollection of thought processes to help humans navigate the transition that is going to take place once the portal is activated. This portal is much awaited for many decades and finally is coming to the point where all is aligned. I'm talking about what is going to take place in 1 to 2 years of your timeline. Once this portal activates, most of humanity will feel lost, for the life they once knew was real will be gone for good. This is without doubt a most wonderful event, but there will be a transition period where many alignments in each individual will have to take place. For now, let this information sink in. If triggers arise, welcome them with love and compassion. It is natural for the human aspect to experience emotions such as fear, anger, desolation, frustration. So take it easy and find a way to relax in the midst of the unknown, the big mystery. I am Thoth, and I come once again to your reality because the time is right. We had been waiting for the opportunity we are about to witness. This opportunity is one that will shift the course of humanity and will mold humans to be able to upgrade consciousness from which a new reality will emerge. One where each human flowers as an absolutely divine being and is welcome as such. We know it will be a lot to digest, and we know many of you had been waiting for such an event, and in the process had lost all hope and trust in the information that was brought forth. We know the size of the challenge that living in a human body has been. Finally, the time has come. The portal will open a process that will have different faces. Each individual will enter from a different perspective and consciousness level. But no matter from what point of entry one starts, life will feel as if it has ended. This feeling is normal for humans, for they have been conditioned to experience reality from a perspective of time as a concrete reality. This is in fact far from the truth, for life only exists as a continuous now or eternal now. So the feeling of being disoriented will happen on a mass scale. The perception of life ending and still being alive will be of tremendous impact in the psyche of most humans, for they had not yet cultivated an inner reference point. For those, the time to align will require some more challenges to be able to settle into this new way of being alive, a way that is not based on past or future and all what that implicates. Once you adjust your misaligned perspectives, you understand that living from the heart will result on perceiving that life as you knew it will cease to exist. People not aligned with you might and probably will not be part of your life anymore. Interest and ways of functioning will shift to a new dimension of being, one which is guided from a space beyond logic and cultural values. There won't be an understanding of the meaning or why you feel to do this or that, but a strong inner sense that this is the right move. No guarantees of reaching anywhere, only a moment-to-moment flow into the unknown. If all of this sounds appealing, then you are probably more ready to enter the bright door of your heart. We have always been at home waiting for your arrival. This planetary event will hit so hard on the structures of society and institutions that those rigid pillars will start to collapse. People will feel abandoned from the idea of a paternalistic government that comes to rescue its citizens. Many will wonder why they had invested so much energy and for so long in a professional career they did not even care about from the beginning. There will be a transition period where chaos will be the normal and will last around 5 years of your calendar time. People in power already know about this event, and they are trying to minimize the impact by creating a structure that will try to manipulate this shift and the arrival of a new awareness in a way that guarantees their permanence in power and control. What they don't know is that there is no way to predict the outcome of such an event, for it never happened before. Their effort to minimize the chaos will create more conflict for people, will not accept control over them any longer. The only way is for each individual to recalibrate him/herself to the arrival of a new consciousness. In this way, harmony is created so compassion can emerge between fellow humans. This shift only from antagonism to compassion will be a revolution many had been waiting for. True unconditional love will be the very base reality, and everyone will be aligned to it, and will realize that it has eternally been the very fabric of reality. What is unconditional love, you might wonder? A word used and abused for a long time by religious institutions to control. The answer is worth a whole new chapter. Meanwhile, the dissolution of the concept of a timeline, past and future as real, in the psychology of humans, has great implications. Picture an individual that had as reference point the memories from the past, and that through the identification process, an identity is created separate from other humans who experience their own identity constructions. The sudden effect of the dissolution of the past leaves the individual without a reference point of who he/she is. That creates a huge ripple effect that continues bringing down all the known reality, with all the beliefs the individual cultivated, and from which the person thought to be living from and for. And because this is a dual reality, the moment the timeline ceases to exist with the past, also the illusion of a future falls down altogether. Now, the concept of a future is very tricky, because even though it has not happened yet, it contains everything the individual dreams of, with all its potential, and because of the cultural values established, it seems the future holds the salvation for a life lived in deprivation of happiness now for a better tomorrow. So, as you see the level of implications we are talking about here, this is the meaning of chaos itself. For those who have been doing the inner work, it will feel like, finally I don't have to try to fit in anymore. And those who haven't yet entered the path of awakening will turn for help to those who they know are the crazy alternative New Age outsiders, the mambo-jumbo kind of people. And because this event is foreseen in great advance, these so-called crazy people have been placed strategically at a certain distance from each other over the whole territory, so every personal orbit of friends and family can get its own reference point to turn to. It will be an event worth the wait. The souls incarnated at this time made a conscious choice to be here now. All is within the divine plan. Feel sorry or petty towards any human whatsoever. This is utterly important to take into account. There are no victims. It is very probable that the individual in power will try to hijack the process so that they can gain more power and control. But what they might not take into consideration is that the portal from which Earth will go through includes them too. The dissolution of the so-called future will be the most challenging part of the process, for it holds all the promises of a better tomorrow and the hope and dreams of becoming, achieving, or even doing what had long been postponed. Without this, what is left is everything the individual had been afraid of, and everything that was cultivated but were too busy to care about while trying to become. The realm of the heart is approaching, and the three principles to learn and practice are: let go, trust, and surrender. To be able to let go, acceptance and forgiveness will have to be included and practiced consciously. Prepare the ground, dear ones, so those who manage to get hold and integrate this information will not be taken by surprise. That is, of course, the given inner homework is chosen as a challenge as soon as possible. Surrender requires the intensive practices of total relaxation, and trust comes from a mind not focused on a specific result. So the journey of awakening to your true being is not a mere recollection of intellectual concepts, but instead an immersion into the depth of your own inner realm. Courage will be needed at first, for it is a quantum leap for most of you, no matter your starting point. Those ready to ask for assistance, much of it will be delivered. For that, of course, much humility will be required, for one of the most challenging blocks of humanity in general is the capacity to receive. Much trauma had been experienced in the early stages of the psychological development, leaving the individual unable to trust other fellow humans. Unfortunately, the transition process will bring much civil unrest, for the frustration and anger of a life lived without awareness will leave the individual with blaming projection, making someone responsible, not to mention the financial instability. This information is not to bring fear into you. It is just natural that this will be part of the process. If you want to take an advice, even if you don't fully understand or believe this information, just in case, gather your friends and family and have an exit plan from big cities. Think together what would be the best action in case things start to get out of control or even too intense. This is just a hint. Matter of fact is, each will have to face whatever comes from within, and it won't be possible to escape from the revelations of your inner reality. Even if you find this information biased, suspicious, fear-mongering nonsense, what harm can bring to start a movement towards your inner reality, a movement back home? Ultimately, when you go to sleep, are you at peace? When you wake up, do you feel joy to start a new day? When you look in the mirror, do you have loving words? Are you living from the perspective of unconditional love and compassion towards your humanity and others? I have to use a language you will understand, because fact is there is no you and no other. That too is a construction. I will go deeper into this later. For now, consider this information as an initiation to start learning meditation practices, an invitation to love yourself unconditionally. with all your so-called imperfections, an invitation to treat yourself and others with uttermost respect, an invitation to start or continue your journey back home, where you will finally be able to rest in the core of your being, where infinite love and peace is eternally available. Now, about those who had been preparing, consciously or not, to handle such an event, and that will serve as a reference point to those who will ask for assistance during the turmoil times. These individuals might not be fully ready themselves, but certainly will know others in their network who might be. Important point to make, these individuals who will be ready to assist you to navigate such new waters are, by no circumstances, to be taken as master-disciple relationship or believed blindly. No, those times are gone. Because what this new frequency will teach is that the only true master to follow is your own heart. And because a life lived disconnected from your being, some work, dedication, and patience will be required from your side. What is definitely most important is that in order to find your way back to your heart, you will have to identify your inner compass, call it inner voice, intuition, higher self. This compass has always been there, but there was no one home available to listen yet. So slowly, step by step, you will begin to understand that even though there will be no certainty or security to where this compass will point you to, once you start listening and trusting and move with it, you will realize that you will find yourself at the perfect place, with the perfect people, having the exactly type of experience that you need. You will receive answers to questions you had for a long time, and even glimpse of the divine that will spark sensations you couldn't even guess you could feel. All experiences that will show you, aha, this is what the spiritualist had been talking about. And all this process is of the uttermost importance because, and here is where it gets interesting, what all this will be awakening in you is the realization of the divine game. And the only way to play is by activating the principle of authenticity. Once you start living your unique way of being, once your true nature starts to show up, my dear ones, you will realize the game has started. And this game is very simple, even though it has tremendous complexity to it. Let's not concern with that for now. What's important for you to know is that what truly matters is the ways your own being guides you to realize the very core nature of your being, and therefore of the whole existence. This is when you start sensing the gold, the treasure you have long seeking for. This is when the whole existence truly rejoices with you. When you can feel unconditional love, what you heard many times to be God's presence, and it's true. What unconditional love is, in fact, is absolute freedom to be. This is existence telling you, hey, can you see all this magnificent creation? Go and be who you are, no matter what, you will never be judged. Of course, in this reality, you will learn all action has a reaction. But when your actions come from your heart, the reaction can only be a ripple of joy and bliss. So you see, what lays beyond your known reality is something revolutionary. Patience, my dears. This information comes as a seed of remembrance into your mind. Remember who you are. There is nothing to learn, only remembering what your heart knew all along. I come to assist you in the service of spreading information that will be useful in a very short time frame. I know all this sounds unlikely and might trigger fear and worry. This is not the purpose. The intention is clear. To remember, to activate in you a seed that had been hidden from you, to water it so it sprouts, and with it a break will happen so that light can shine through, so that the information hidden in your DNA activates, and you start to remember who you are and what it is you are doing here, having this human experience. You see, the information is very condensed, to the point, not detailed, not for you to follow it, only to help you remember that you had always had an inner compass, guiding you all along. To remember that you were never abandoned, never left alone, never forgotten. You have always been part of the divine. Let that sink in for a while. You are the divine itself. Not even an inch of separation ever existed. Breath that in. End of part 1.